A Republic Act 7192, Women in Development and Nation Building Act. An act promoting the integration of women as full and equal partners of men in development and nation building and for other purposes. The intent of the act is to promote the integration of women as full and equal partners with men in development and nation building. The act grants women, regardless of their marital status, full legal capacity to act and to enter into contract.
About the political legal perspectives in gender and sexuality, which is the Republic Act number 7192. This act promotes the integration of women as full and equal partners of men in development and nation building and other purposes. In other words, this act tells us that all women should be given the exact amount of opportunities equal to that of men. Section 1 under the Republic Act 7192, title, "This Act shall be cited as the Women in Development and Nation Building Act." Section 2, Declaration of Policy. The state must recognize the role of women in nation building and must ensure the fundamental equality before the law of women and men. To attain the foregoing policy, first, substantial portion of official development assistance funds from foreign government and multilateral agencies, organizations shall be set aside and utilized by the agencies concerned to support programs and activities including women. Third, all government departments and agencies shall review and revise all the regulations, circulars, issuances, and procedures to remove gender bias therein. So Section 3, Responsible Agency. The National Economic and Development Authority, or the NEDA, shall primarily be responsible for ensuring the participation of women as recipients in foreign aid, grants, and loans. It shall determine and recommend the amount to be allocated for the development activity involving women.
Section 4, Mandate. It's all about the major human rights treatise has a committee made up of individual experts whose mandate is to monitor and provide convention on right of the child. The NEDA, with the assistance of National Commission on the Role of Filipino Women, shall ensure that the different government departments, including its agencies and instrumentalities which directly or indirectly affect the participation of women in national development in their integration therein. 1. Formulate and prioritize rural or countryside development programs or projects, provide income and employment opportunities to women in the rural areas and thus prevent their heavy migration from rural to urban or foreign countries. 2. Include an assessment of the extent to which their programs and/or projects integrate women in the development process and of the impact of said programs or project on women, including their implication in enhancing the self-reliance of women in improving their income. 3. Ensure the active participation of women and women's organization in the development programs and/or projects, including their involvement in the planning, design, implementation, management, monitoring, and evaluation thereof. 4. Collect sex. Disaggregated data and include such data in its program or project paper, proposal, or strategies. 5. Ensure that programs and/or projects are designed so that the percentage of women receive assistance in approximately proportionate to either their traditional participation in the target activities or their proportion of the project, whichever is higher. Lastly, 6. Assist women in activities that are critical significance to their self-reliance and development. So the article it says is to prevent women violation before they ever occur by building human right capacity. For example, the right to live and liberty, freedom of opinion and expression, and the right to work and education. We all know the role of women in the Philippines is explained based on the context of Filipino culture, standard, and mindset. The Philippines is described to be a nation of strong women who directly and indirectly to be the family unite, business, government, agencies, and others. Section 5. Equality in capacity to act. They are intended to ensure that everyone is treated with the same respect, dignity, and consideration. The essence of this right is equality of legal capacity. For example, capacity to enter into contract or access government services. Women of legal age, regardless of civil status, shall have the capacity to act and enter into contracts which shall in every respect be equal to that of men under similar circumstances. In all contractual situations where married men have the capacity to act, married women shall have equal rights. 1. Women shall have the capacity to borrow and obtain loans and execute security and credit arrangement under the same conditions as men. 2. Women shall have equal right to all government and private sector programs granting agricultural credits, loan, and non-material resources and shall enjoy equal treatment in agrarian reform and land resettlement programs. 3. Women shall have equal right to act as incorporators and enter into insurance contracts. And 4. Married women shall have right equal to those of married men in applying, for example, passport, secure visas, and other travel documents without need to secure the consent of their spouses. So, Section 5, in all other similar contractual relations, women shall enjoy equal rights and shall have the capacity to act, which shall in every respect be equal to those of men under similar circumstances.
Section 6. Equal membership in clubs. In Section 6 says, women shall be entitled to the same rights and privileges equal to men who enjoy the membership in all social and other organizations, especially if their spouse belong to what organization they belong. Section 7. Admission to military schools. In Section 7 says, women shall have the equal opportunities to serve in a military school, especially if they are capable and meet the standard requirements. Equal men in admission in all similar schools of the AFP and the PNP. Section 8. Voluntary Pag-ibig, GSIS, and SSS coverage. In Section 8 says, a woman, especially a married person, shall have the rights to acquire the voluntary pag-ibig, GSIS or SSS, with the consent of working spouse, and it will deduct 1/2 of the salary and the compensation of the working spouse. Section 9. Implementing rules. The issued rules and regulations of the NEDA, National Economic and Development Authority, is necessary to implement the Section 2, 3, and 4 of this Act. Stated, all government departments shall ensure that women will benefit equally, provide them the rights and opportunities equal to that of men.
Section 10 Compliance Report. Within 6 months from this effectivity of this Act and every 6 months thereafter, all government departments, including its agencies and instrumentalities, shall submit a report to Congress on their compliance with this Act.
11. Separability Clause.
If for any reason any section or provision of this act is declared unconstitutional or invalid, the other section or provisions hereof which are not affected thereby shall continue to be in full force and effect. Section 12, Repealing Clause. The provisions of Republic Act Number 386, otherwise known as the Civil Code of the Philippines, as amended, and of Executive Order Number 209, otherwise known as the Family Code of the Philippines, and all laws, decrees, executive orders, proclamations, rules, and regulations, or parts thereof inconsistent herewith are hereby repealed. Section 13. Effectivity Clause. The rights of women and all the provisions of this act shall take effect immediately upon its publication in the official gazette or in two newspapers of general circulation.